Hi guys, we all know that the month of October, we recognize and acknowledge domestic violence. On today's episode, I have two guests that can speak firsthand on domestic violence. It's something that we all need to listen to and be aware of, because some people don't know the signs, some people are not aware. So stay tuned and make sure you listen and become aware of what's going on with your loved ones. When someone mentions soft life, most of the time we equate it to money and luxury, which that is part, but truly soft life begins with self-love first, working through trauma and exploring the real joy of life. It's a life free of stress and full of purpose. My name is Miracle. I'm a business owner and educator. My guest and I would like to let you in on some soft life secrets. Welcome, Monica and Amber. Thank you both for being a part of the show today. I know it's gonna get heavy at some point, but I just want you to know that, I appreciate you telling your story, and I think it's very important because I knew your sister personally,
Yes.
and I'm now an advocate of domestic violence. I can't say I personally been through it, but I'm an advocate for it. I don't agree with it, and I think it needs to be talked about and discussed.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people that's suffering in silence.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, so Monica, tell us about your story. I know, a little bit that you was married for several years and you finally escaped the marriage. Tell the audience about your story.
I got married in 1993.
Okay.
I already had two daughters and moved to a small town outside of Atlanta. And so about 2 years in, we were fighting every weekend, if not, fighting, moving furniture, fighting, breaking stuff on the walls, punching holes in the wall, that kind of stuff. And I thought that it was because he was an alcoholic. Fridays he was drinking, all night long, and he just would get upset and we would fight. And so I was in that marriage for 16 years.
16?
16 years. And again, because he was an alcoholic, my thinking was it was the drinking. If I can get him to stop drinking, we would be okay. Because when he wasn't drinking and going to work during the week, we were fine. But the weekends, it was unbearable. So I just made up my mind after a while. I said, I can't do this anymore. This is not how this is supposed to be. Marriage is not supposed to be this way. And I remember telling him at spring break, if things are not better in this house between us, by the time school gets out, I'm gone. And he laughed. He laughed at me. And I was so mad that you thought it was funny. And so I said, okay. And I had no idea about domestic violence agencies. I didn't know anything about a safety plan, but I knew enough to pray. And I listened. And God said, pack a bag and put it in your daughter's bedroom, in their closet, because he never goes in there, so he wouldn't find it. And he came home one night, I guess it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. We had already been in the bed, taking naps. Girls, I said, when you hear that shower go on, you put your clothes on. We had practiced. We had steps to how we were going to do this thing. And so he came in and I was like, hey, you want something to eat? And he was like, yeah. I said, you want some breakfast? And he said, yeah. I said, okay. So I go in the kitchen. I threw a little something together. I went in the bathroom. I took all the towels out, all the clothes, everything. And like I was putting it in the washing machine. And while he was in the shower, the girls went out the side door. I said, get in the car, lay down on the floor. Don't close the doors. Just use one car door, you know, because the car was 4 doors. Use one car door, but don't close it. They got in the car, they laid down on the floor in the back seat. I went out, I got in, and I had my oldest daughter climb over the seat. We put the car in neutral. She steered, and I pushed the car out the driveway.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, see, you get strength when you're, you know, trying to do something, when you're trying to run, when you're, you know, when your life is in jeopardy. And we coasted, because our street was kind of hilly, so we coasted down the hill. And when we got to the stop sign, I started the car, and we left.
And never
Went back. Never went back.
So 16 years.
16 years.
After 2 years, so 14 years. During the weekends, and this is so common because I have a girlfriend who lost her mother to domestic violence, and eventually lost her father after he went to prison. But it's not for me to understand. But how did you endure? She said as a child, she hated the weekends because her dad would come home to beat the mom. And sort of like you said, after drinking or going out, doing everything, and the mom would just take it.
Well, I wasn't one of those women that just kind of laid down and take it. You know, I fought back. I gave as good as I got.
Right.
However, we're talking about a man that's 6'3", and I'm 5'1", and he was 175 pounds. And so it was, I fought back, but he still got the best of me.
I got you.
You know?
Yeah.
The house was at peace and quiet, and the girls and I enjoyed one another and did things together when he wasn't there.
Right.
You know, but you pray a lot. You know, there weren't many people I could turn to. You know, because either they had their own situation going on, or they just didn't understand.
Did you have family and friends that knew what you were going through?
I had a couple of family members.
Okay.
But you know, they were older aunts that often said, "We're gonna pray you through this." You know, and while I want you to pray for me, that wasn't the answer that I needed at that time.
Right.
You know,
help.
I needed, you know, girl, you better than this. You know, I needed somebody, because when you're in an abusive relationship, your confidence, your self-esteem is ripped to shreds.
Yes.
And so I needed somebody to say, girl, you better than this, and you deserve better, and to build me up. Not to say, girl, you know, you got them babies, you need a husband, they need a daddy. Well, you know, and in retrospect, now I'm like, girl, what kind of daddy was he being though? You know? And so.
Okay, let me come back to you. Your personal journey with the domestic violence. You haven't experienced it yourself.
No.
But your sister did. Tell us a little bit about the story, just a little bit, and then we're gonna get into the meat of it.
Okay. So I lost my beautiful, amazing older sister, Salathia, on August 1st. So it's been a little over 60 days.
60 days this year?
This year, 60 days,
Okay.
just 2 months. And it's been the most unimaginable, unbearable reality to live in. She was in the middle of a very messy divorce, which was pending in Fulton County. She went to court exactly 9 days before she was killed and told the judge that she did not feel safe. She did not want him in the home. And the judge said, you guys figure it out. This sounds like marital people fighting. I'll see you back in September. And we never made it to September. She was killed 9 days later. So it's been heavy. Yeah.
Okay. You talked about your trauma that you went through and everything. How did you begin to heal from the trauma? You escaped alive.
I did.
how did you begin to heal after you left? Did you have a plan of where you were going, or did you just, we out?
We out. I knew that we were 2 hours away from Atlanta, and I had a family here. My mom was here, my dad. So I knew that I had somewhere to go.
Okay.
You know, but it was the embarrassment and the shame in it. You know, I didn't really want to come home because I didn't really want to tell that story, you know. But in the end, I said, you know what? That's what we doing. We gone. And so I did. I came home. And they knew something had happened or something, but I just...
You never talked about it?
We're not working out. You know, it's a wrap for me. We not working. And so...
Did he come looking for you?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes drunk. Would drive 2 hours drunk, come looking for me. Yeah, banging on the front door, broke in my house one night, ransacked my house. Yeah, all of that, because in his mind, as most narcissists think, that you can't possibly not want to be with me.
Yep.
How dare you want to move on with your life without me? And so it was always, you got somebody. And so he would stake out outside my home thinking he was going to catch me with somebody or catch another somebody coming in or out of my house. Yeah.
So how did your girls react to this? How did it affect them?
I tell people that I bled on them. And what I mean by that is that not only did they see and hear things from the fighting, the arguing, even though they were in another room most of the time, they still heard things. But when he wasn't there and they would hear me talking about things that had happened with maybe a friend, because I didn't talk directly to them, but they heard, they still heard. And so when I look at them now and hear some of the things that they say about relationships and different things, I know that she feels that way because of what she saw me go through. She feels that way because of things she's heard me say. And so, but I've always been the kind of parent that I believe in age-appropriate dialogue with my kids. So we had what we call is Girls' Day Out. We got up at crack of dawn, we go to breakfast, we hang out all day. But my agenda was, we're gonna talk about some stuff. So in the midst of shopping, in the midst of having a nice lunch or breakfast or dinner or whatever we were doing, we had conversations.
Good.
And we talked about what they saw, what they heard, what I experienced, and what their feelings were about it.
Okay, how old were they when you left?
When I left, Jennifer was 3rd grade, and my baby was in 2nd.
Okay. Wow. This. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Are there specific therapies or resources that helped you during your recovery?
Absolutely. I went to counseling, and I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Relationship PTSD?
So imagine I'm now trying to put my life back together. He gone on doing his thing. He was somebody else now. But now I'm being diagnosed with PTSD, and I remember I fell apart right there in the therapist's office, and I said, this is not fair, you know? And so the stigma behind PTSD is what got me. You know, you've heard of it, and people call people who have PTSD, they call us crazy, you know? And so that's all that was going through my mind. So now I get to be labeled crazy because I had to deal with that foolishness. But then I said, I need a minute. I told my therapist, I said, I gotta sit in this for a minute. I need to research PTSD. And so she sent me some stuff. She was amazing. She called me on the weekend and said, I just want to check on you. You okay? And I said, yeah. I said, I'm reading. And so she knew enough about me and what I had been through, and because I was very open about everything. I didn't go into my counseling looking for an excuse. I learned to own my responsibility in it.
Okay.
You know, because I accepted some things that I should not have accepted. I went into that relationship with no boundaries. And so I had to sit in that. And once I did, the healing began. You know, I had to be open and honest, not only with her, but with myself. And once I did that, it was easy for healing to start to begin. I had to get to know me. What is it that Monica likes? What is it that Monica cares about? What things does she not like in a relationship? What things does she, you know, you can't say to me? What things will I not participate in? You know, and once I wrote it out because I still journal, and I wrote those things out. And my boundaries, baby, locked, sealed, you know, you talk crazy to me, deuces.
Right.
No, we're not doing that.
So you have certain triggers.
I do.
Tell me, how long did it take you to start allowing another relationship? Like, did you have trust issues after that?
I did, and I still do. However, I know that everybody's not bad. Every man is not a dog. Every man is not abusive, you know. But I know the triggers. I know the signs, and I watch. I pay attention. I'm very observant. Even if I'm not talking and I'm not saying anything, I've noticed, you know. And so I've had a friend, you know, we dated for a good little while, but we were friends first. And then we decided, okay, let's try it. You know, he had just come out of a relationship like a year before, and so we dated, and it was nice while it was nice.
While it was nice. I got it.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, I'm like, you know, let's keep the friendship. We do better as friends. Let's keep the friendship. And that's what we did.
Okay.
And so we're friends. We get together for dinner once in a while. We might do a movie. We talk on the phone. We check in on each other.
But y'all had that friendship
But we have a friendship
foundation.
Right.
Okay. I know it's early on. So as far as rebuilding after the trauma, you inherited kids.
Yes.
With the death of your sister.
Yes.
And so this is life-changing, not just for them, but for you as well.
Absolutely.
How is it now, like, I know it's not rebuilding, but how is it now, the trauma? Is it like yesterday? Are you still having nightmares?
All of that.
Because you and your sister were best friends.
I tell people she was my person.
Exactly.
We used to joke and say that if we outlived our husbands, we were going to find a third and become the Golden Girls.
Yes.
Like we spoke every day, several times a day. There was not a thing that happened in my life where she was not the first call. She even picked my husband. She met him first, and when I introduced him, she said, "That's your husband. If you're not serious about that man, move out the way, let him go find your wife, his wife." So I credit her with every great thing in my life. So losing her it's been devastating. You know, she's one of a kind. There's never gonna be another her. And so luckily we were so close, you know, I was at her house and she was at mine all the time anyway. So it was just a natural progression with my niece and my nephews. And I remember, like, the next day when I woke up and I looked at my husband and I said, "Is this real?" And he just looked at me and rubbed my back and said, "Yeah, baby, she's gone." And I said, "The kids," and he said, "You don't even have to say it. They're coming home with us." And it's, you know, I thank God I married a great man who sees it that way. But it's been hard, but the silver lining has been that my family was already super close. My mom raised us, there's 5 of us, and she raised us to be extremely close. So having each other has helped us get through the day. Usually one of us, if not more, is having a horrible day. So we all check in with each other in the morning and say, how's your day going? Usually at least one of us is strong enough, even if the rest of us are puddles on the floor. I cry every day. It's going to be that way for a while.
Right.
Definitely.
I mean, I know how close y'all were.
Yeah.
Y'all were like best friends. I mean, like, I envy the way y'all relationship was, because it was not just a sister, that was your best friend.
It was a bond that few people, I think, are blessed and fortunate enough to
Yes.
experience in life. I think it's a bond that we as women a lot of times look for and search for in friendships.
Yes.
And I'm very grateful for the 38 years that I got to call her my sister, the time that I had her, because we were locked in. She was my girl. She picked my nail color. Little things now are so hard for me because I go to the nail salon and cry because I would call her and say, I'm looking at this color, and she'd say, that's ugly, put that back. And then she'd just turn the phone around, I'll pick something. I would just show her the board and she would pick something. So having to learn how to make decisions, having to learn how to make decisions for a 9-year-old girl. I'm a boy mom. I don't know anything about raising a teenage girl, but we're learning together. And I just look at her every day and say, you have to give Auntie Amber grace. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not your mom. I'm just doing what I think she would want me to do for you. So we're learning together. Yeah.
Okay, emotional healing.
Yeah. About that.
How did you address the emotional wounds for the kids? And such, like, shame. Did you feel any shame or guilt or fear of the fact, like you said, she had an opportunity to escape,
Yeah.
and the judge denied it?
Oh, yeah. I think every last one of us has shame and guilt about something. I'm trying to come to terms with the fact that I don't think it's my fault. The kids think it's their fault. I tell them every day it's not. Everyone thinks it's their fault what happened to my sister. And I think it's important to have conversations like these because the only person that's at fault is the person who did what he did to her. My sister's not at fault. I'm not at fault. As far as the emotional healing, we are all learning that it's okay to cry. I'm encouraging her children, especially her boys, because I know it's a lot harder for men. I'm encouraging them to feel what they need to feel. I mean, I tell them I've never lost a sibling before and you've never lost a parent before. And my niece has lost 2 parents. So we take it day by day, her mother and her father. This was my sister's 2nd marriage. And so my niece, the youngest, lost both parents, and then her 2 boys lost their mom.
So just quickly tell them exactly what happened, and then we'll get into it. But a quick synopsis on what actually happened.
So he took my sister's life and then took his own. They had, like I said, been back in the house for 9 days. Originally, he said he would stay outside. They have a 9-acre property and they had RVs and boats and all kind of things. And he told her, I'll just stay outside. So I saw her that morning. We spent the morning together.
You saw her the morning before she?
Yeah. It was my last gift from God, I'd like to say, but we were together all morning. I dropped her back off at the house. We spoke on the phone about an hour before it happened. And then I got the call from my nephew just screaming. And he told me what had happened. And I don't think I've ever driven that fast in my life trying to get to her house. And it was my niece who's 9. It was her first day of school. Yeah. And my middle nephew was in the home getting ready for football practice. So it just rocked. It's amazing to me how one thing can just rock your entire universe.
Right.
And lift it off balance.
Right.
One thing.
Oh gosh, okay. So the emotional healing for you, Miss Monica, how did you address the emotional wounds of abuse, such as shame and guilt and fear?
Well, again, I went to therapy and did a lot of exercises on, me talking about, why I felt shame. I had to mend some relationships. I had to you know, I just had to be really honest, not just with me and my therapist, but I had to finally open up and talk and say, you know, yes, this happened, but it was not my fault. You know, I had to tell what really happened, what I had experienced. And, but I decided to just let God have his way and just start doing the work, you know, talking about it. And in the beginning, and this is gonna blow your mind. So I was a biblical counselor. And I was meeting with other women, counseling them through marriage stuff and, you know, different things. And they added a class on domestic violence and had all the counselors come back to take this training. And so I was sitting in class one night, and the young lady said, well, did you read the text? Because I had missed the week before because I had some dental work done. So when I go back, so she was asking me, did you get a chance to read? I did. Well, what did you think? Good stuff. You know, I'm just giving short answers. And so, but God had already told me that I had to tell my story, that I had to open up to my class. And I was like,
you were going through domestic violence while you were in,
I had already left.
Okay.
But I had not shared with anybody that I had been in church with or in these classes with, you know. And so, so that night, God used the teacher of that class to push me. And I remember I said, okay, for real, you just gonna make me do this, you know? And so finally I picked up the textbook and I said, this has been my life for the last 16 years.
Wow.
And like the time froze and the classmates looked at me like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, everything in this book I've experienced.
Wow.
And so I was naked, but not ashamed in that moment, you know, because that was my fear was when I start to tell people what I've been through and that I've lived this, what are they now gonna think about me? And so, but you know what they did? They embraced me. They prayed for me. They loved on me. And there was a guy in the class with us, and he was like, girl, where he at? Like, where? You know, and I laughed and I said, I love you for that, but we're not doing it. We're not doing it. You know, it's not, you know, because can't nobody get him better than God. And although at one point I was in agreement, let's
get him.
But, you know, I knew that wasn't the answer.
Yeah, I don't think I'm there yet. I'm not mature enough to not be there.
Right.
I mean,
it's a journey.
It is.
It's amazing because it's a lot of people out there that are going through this that feel ashamed to even speak up or talk about it. And my call to you is to tell somebody.
Absolutely.
You don't have to go through that alone. You don't have to suffer in silence. So this right here, it was important for me to have you all on for this month especially because I mean, day to day I hear stuff and I have some friends that are going through domestic violence and it's not physical. But mental.
Okay, can we talk about
mental,
that?
Let's talk about that.
And verbal abuse.
Some people think it's levels to this thing.
No, baby. Mental and verbal can be even worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is your thoughts on that? I'm going to ask both of you all. What is your thoughts on the mental and the verbal abuse? Because it's like I had a friend that was like, just hit me. Just the stuff that he says is worse. It tears you down. What is your thought?
It's that, and it's the mental manipulation that comes with it. So my sister filed for divorce last year, and unfortunately there were so many people, and that's why I so related to what you said, that convinced her to go back. There was a lot of, this is just the devil getting in between your marriage. There's a lot of, you know, he's going to go to counseling. And in the entire adult time that my sister was my friend, we never fought. We never went more than 24 hours without talking. And when she went back to him, I didn't speak to her for 4.5 days. My mom had to intervene and said, this is killing her on the inside. And I was not angry at her for going back per se. I was angry because in my mind, I see what he's doing and I see the person you are, and I know you don't deserve this, and I know you're better than this. And after she went back, she filed a temporary protective order. He got really smart after that, and he learned, as long as I don't put my hands on her, I can do all these other things, and the police are going to come out and they're just going to say this is just a marital issue. He would punch holes in the wall. There was financial abuse. If he was away for work, he would call and call and call and call. If she didn't answer, he would hang up and call back. If she was out with me, he would call my phone looking for her. He would want her to FaceTime. There's so many other things that comes with the abuse that I think there are probably a lot of women that are watching this that are thinking, well, he's not hitting me. He's not punching me. He just says mean things. And it's all abuse.
Right.
He just want to know where I am.
Yeah, he just wants to know.
loves me.
You know, he's just, you know, she would always say, he's just bored in his truck because he was a truck driver. And say that's why he's calling so much, because he gets in that truck and he don't have nobody else to talk to but me. It's abuse. And it's the little digs about the things you wear. It's the little digs about your body. It's all of those little things that add up that I think we as a society don't understand sometimes, that abuse is not just black eyes and busted lips.
That's
Right.
All of it is abuse, and all of it is wrong.
That's right.
So,
By you being a past attorney, did you see this type stuff when you were practicing?
absolutely. I lost 2 clients when I was practicing in a similar manner. So I think I was a little bit more on high alert to what was happening.
And that's why it frustrated you when
And
she
that's
didn't
what
listen.
frustrated me when she didn't listen. And that's what frustrated me about everyone that was encouraging her to go back, and people that were telling me that I was just being the paranoid little sister and that I just didn't understand. I hadn't been married long enough myself. These were all things that I heard on a regular basis. And I think, again, we need to have conversations about those warning signs and what they are, because I think we minimize so many other things that, like you said, the shame. Like that was my sister's big thing. If I get divorced again, this will be my second divorce, and the kids won't have a dad. And what are people gonna say about me? I just need to do this, 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 and this, and then I can leave. And she just didn't think she had the support, not even from people who called themselves her friends. She didn't have the support to leave. He was a nice guy. You know, that's the thing about abusers. They're nice guys when they're nice.
Right.
You know, they're
nice to everyone else.
They're nice to everyone else.
But we don't have to be there during the nights and the days.
And the weekends. You know, they're the life of the party. They're the number one funner. And so it's when you say things like he's being verbally abusive or he's doing this or he's doing that, all people see is the fun guy on the grill. All they see is the fun guy at the bowling alley. They don't recognize.
I think you're blowing it out of proportion.
They don't recognize it. And
So do you think that's why people sometimes shun to not talk about it? They kind of brush it up under the rug?
They don't understand everything that's involved, that it's not just the physical, that it's the financial, it's the, why you wearing your hair like that? Why you got that outfit on? Why you keep gaining weight? You know, those kind of things. And then, you know, a lot of women who come to this country from other countries that may not have their citizenship yet. They have to deal with the fact that they're holding that over their head. I'm going to call the authorities on you. You know, I'm going to take the kids. I'm going to do this. And so, so people who are not living in it, they don't understand the extreme that an abuser will go to hurt you.
What support system or resources would you give people who are actually or maybe going through this that don't know where to turn to? And if they do feel shameful to speak to loved ones and friends, what support system or resources do you all recommend for those type people?
Well, there's always the National Domestic Violence Hotline that they can call, 1-800-799-SAFE.
1-800-799-SAFE.
I'm in the Atlanta area. They can always call me at 470-671-0222. You can text me if you don't want to talk. But I recommend that every woman in a relationship do a safety plan.
A safety plan.
A safety plan.
And you're
Whether
a
wanting-
certified counselor, right? Okay, so she's certified.
Now, I'm a biblical counselor. I'm not
Biblical.
a mental health counselor.
Not mental health,
Yeah.
biblical.
Right. Right.
Safety plan. Because you told your story on how you prepared. Safety measures.
Right.
Like
Right.
the big escape.
Right. Right. You need to have a plan, even if you're not looking to leave. Do a safety plan. It's not going to hurt. What if a fire pops out and you need to leave your house? You know, domestic violence is the same way. You don't have any control or when it's going to happen or what the episode is going to be like. So just be prepared. You know, pack a bag, have it somewhere at the loved one's house. I've heard of people keeping bags at their office in a locker, in a desk drawer. Whatever you need to do, have copies of prescriptions, insurance cards, driver's license. Because when in an episode, trust me when I tell you, those things get torn up. They get damaged. I've watched somebody cut up a victim's car, driver's license, social security card, credit card, so you can't use them. Oh, you think you leaving me? You won't leave with this. Yeah. Yeah.
What resources have you found or have you heard of or you recommend to people, even if, you know, if it's not to that point?
Yeah. So my first advice to everyone is find a safe and confidential way to document. Whether it's a girlfriend that you can take pictures of bruises and things and text it to them and then delete the picture, whether it's a secret file on your phone or on the laptop, because when you are ready, you want to make sure you have the documentation to support your decision to leave. And unfortunately, our courts and our justice system still has a very long way to go to understanding that domestic violence looks a lot of different ways. I did recently meet with the chief judge in Fulton County and made the request that he simply add a box on the divorce paperwork now that says whether or not there's ever been a history of domestic violence for both parties. Because judges are trying to clear their docket so quickly that when my sister went to court, she didn't even get an opportunity to fully explain to the judge that they had a past TPO. And I think if he had just taken a step to listen and get that information, my sister might still be alive. So that's one major change that is going to happen that I'm very happy about, because judges need that information so that they can properly assess whether this is a safe situation for a woman. Like you said, the hotline is really good. And then there are resources in most counties that will provide you a free attorney. I suggest any woman that is in a space where they're in a domestic violence relationship, whether you're married or whether you share children, or reach out to those services. Sometimes the wait list can be very long. So even if you're like, I'm not ready to leave right now, start the conversation with them. It's completely free most of the time, where they work on a sliding scale. If you don't have your own resources because he's controlling the income, they can still assign you to someone that can help you. So there's a lot of resources out there I just don't think women know about.
Right. Okay. Oh. See, I had 2 pages. Okay. In a similar situation, life after domestic violence. What has it been like for you? And you kind of talked about how you moved on. You started to trust again and, believe. What is life after domestic violence for you?
I think the biggest thing for me is that I know me and I love me first. I don't have to have somebody in my life. I don't have a problem going to dinner by myself, to the movies by myself, but I genuinely enjoy me now. I know what I like and what I don't like. I have boundaries and I protect my boundaries.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's been amazing, and I enjoy talking with other women and helping them start the process of talking about their journey, what they've been through, and starting that healing process. So yeah, so I'm in a good place now, a very good place.
Oh, okay, so the message of hope. What would you give if you could speak directly to someone currently going through domestic violence? And we kind of touched on this, but if you had a couple of words to say to them, words of encouragement, words of hope, what would you tell them? Look in that camera and tell them.
Sis, you do not have to do this alone. You are not by yourself. Trust me when I tell you that not only have I been through it, there's many other women that have been through it, and there is help for you. I and someone else maybe already in your life, they're waiting to walk with you through this journey and help you get to healing.
Amber, with you, what message would you give to someone? And I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
But what would you tell someone that could possibly save a loved one?
That you are loved, and you have so many people that would much rather help you out of that situation than have to bury you. I would give absolutely anything to have one more conversation with my sister, one more day with her. And if I had any inclination that what was going to happen to her was going to happen to her, I would have taken her myself and held her. So just know, no matter what you're going through, no matter how worried you are about someone judging you or whatever shame you're feeling, it's nothing compared to the pain that your family is going to feel if you're not here anymore. So please leave. Please find a safe way to leave. You're worth so much more.
Yes.
Guys, this is heavy, and I know we all know somebody going through it. Please share this episode with them. Please share the hotline number. Tell them it's help. If you want to inbox me, if you need information, either of these ladies' information, I can give it to you, pass it on to you. But go get help, because someone loves you.
Yes.
Until the next time on Soft Life Secrets, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.